Hi guys. Happy Friday night. Would you like to help me do some dishes? I knew that you'd say yes. Thanks. So, I just finished recording and it wasn't even going. I don't know what happened, but I just got home from work. I'm wearing one of the new hoodies I got from Lane Bryant. I like it. I like that it has these funky thumb holes and cool like Swiss dot lace sleeves, which I love. It's nice and long, so it covers my evil area. And you know, you can't blame baby weight when your oldest is 30 and your youngest is 21. But it's really cute because it's an actual real hoodie. I love cotton. So it's practical in my opinion. But it's also funky and trendy and kind of, you know, Stevie Nicks there on the sleeves. So I might wear this to the Indigo Girls concert. Although I might change my mind because I'll be too hot once I get inside. But I got a couple other things too. And when I'm done with the dishes, I'll show them to you. All right, so let me just roll up my sleeves, literally. I think it's really cool that someone designed like awesome butterfly sleeves on something like a simple black tunic cotton hoodie. I don't have my ring light on right now. There's a story behind that. No, it's not broken, but it has to do with my lack of technological savvy. With I have like a charging brick, but I lost the connector thing that allows the brick to be charged before it can impart a charge onto something. And I might figure that out later, but for now I'm just charging my regular phone. So I gotta think of what I already just said because I thought that this was running and it wasn't. I got a few other things too from Lane Bryant. I'll show them to you later. I can't decide if I'm going to keep the dress or not because it's cute. It's a tiny bit snug. I don't like to feel like I'm sucking in my stomach constantly. And what's kind of sad about my life is that I don't really have things to wear a dress to. But I always think that if I have a nice dress, maybe an occasion will show up for it, you know. Although I do have some writing events coming up this late spring and summer. So, but you know, those tend to be kind of dressed down anyway. Especially in New York City, people just dress kind of casual and funky, not like they're going for a job interview. And the dress, when I show it to you, is to me like a nice summer job interview dress. Maybe that's what I should do with it. Yeah, I don't want to talk about work too much. For the same reasons that Sabina said, look, I'm shouting you out again, girl. When you bring it up, even though it's good to vent, and I know you guys care to a certain degree, you just relive it all again, and it just becomes negative, and I'd rather just come home and forget about it. Because quite frankly, in life, people just suck. People can be horrible, and it doesn't matter how much you analyze it, or cross-analyze it, or think it's their fault, or your fault, or you try to figure out how to solve it. I'm pretty convinced at this stage in my life that some people are just jerks and there's nothing you can really do about it. And it has nothing to do with me, it has to do with him. And it's a mental game, it's exhausting, it reminds me of my second marriage. I'm too old in my life right now to deal with people's mind games. I don't want to subscribe to those issues of other people's. And, you know, I talked to somebody about it today. You know, who works there, somebody with some management capacity, and she said, well, did you confront him? And I said, that's not me. I hate confrontation. And honestly, it sometimes makes things worse because the person gets, because I've tried in the past, the person gets pissy and defensive and then more hostile and nothing gets done. So, you know what? I show up to work, I smile, I ignore, and I do my job. And I'm sorry that this light is so harsh. Like I said, I'm not using the ring light. But I'm gonna try to MacGyver that later. Amberlynn Reid. Oh boy. Painfully boring video. I think deliberately boring. Or not deliberate, but like she does what she wants and she doesn't care. She puts no thought into anything. She must think that we're all so fascinated with her that even if she, you know, does record herself peeing, not that I'm saying I ever want her to, God forbid, you know, and obviously we are giving her that attention. So in a certain weird sense, you know, she's kind of right. No matter what she does, we're going to keep watching her videos, right? And then reacting. But at this point, she's so far gone with her I don't give a shit about it, about us. Her wall of denial is just impenetrable. Her level of delusion is like a bottomless pit. I've never seen anything like it, and I've been around a lot of different types of people in my life. I mean, I work with the mentally ill, you know, and people with behavioral challenges, and hers is like, I don't know, she's just become a caricature. She's become this creature of her own making, where it's kind of like she doesn't know how to apply the brakes at this point to go backwards. You know, sometimes when you're accelerating at a certain speed and you apply the brakes, it takes a while before you apply the brakes and you're skidding, but you're still going forward. Then you have to stop and do things that make you go backwards. And she doesn't have the emotional wherewithal or maturity or patience to deal with the fact that it takes a little while, it takes some patience, and she can't sit well with hunger. Emotional hunger, physical hunger. I have a feeling that she never, ever, ever lets herself feel hungry. And I'm sure that does have a lot to do with childhood issues. I know it does in my case. I do definitely empathize with the fact that food is a tremendous source of self-soothing. And that, you know, everyone loves to eat. And some people are just more calorically challenged than others. But I don't think she falls in that category. I don't think she's deliberately trying to gain, but she's certainly not trying to lose. I think she's obsessed with planning it and talking about it and creating a stir around it. But she, you know, she has the sensibilities of a toddler. I think sometimes that when we try to reason with her, we forget that she's not like a normally formed woman of her age. I mean, a lot of women of her age are already married with kids or have careers. She doesn't have a career. She's not married, no kids. She barely takes care of her animals, and her whole life is herself. And I guess her roommates, but I sometimes feel like she's just putting up with them. Although, you know, they feed her narcissistic supply and demand. It's all very codependent. It's all very dysfunctional. They're all basically using each other, but they pretend to be friends. And I mean, oh God, I sound really cynical and really know-it-all, don't I? I mean, I don't live there. What the hell do I know? For all I know, they're all great friends, but I don't see how you can look at Amberlynn Reid, let alone live with her, and not realize there's a very huge problem. No pun intended. She's uncomfortable just to look at. You know, I'm overweight, so I'm not like fat phobic. I've got friends who are 300, 350 pounds. I once dated a guy that was like 422. But she looks just uncomfortable. Like the fat in her head and neck and face has just swallowed her face up to where her face is like this and everything else is like this. And it makes me uncomfortable. It's like, especially in that video, because she started off with a selfie that was, you know, doctored up, but she looked attractive, and it was probably about 200 pounds ago, and she looked normal. So it's like she gets you to look at that, and then all of a sudden she cuts to her face now. How can she not see the difference? Or does she see the difference and not care? And, you know, in that scenario, which is more disturbing psychologically? I don't get it. Like, I think I get upset and frustrated because I try to ascribe my own sensibilities to her, and it doesn't fit and it doesn't work. She has her own brand of reality and her own delusions that she sits in. And you know, there's a saying, if you sit in shit long enough, it doesn't smell to you. She's been in her dysfunctional cycle and her lifestyle for so long that it's become her norm, you know. And so when we try to reason with her that it's not normal, you can't do this, please stop it, you know, I mean, you can't tell a fat person, like, just go on a diet. That's like telling a drug addict, well, just put the needle down, or an alcoholic, oh, don't buy booze anymore. If it was that easy, there'd be no addiction problems in this country or in the world. You know, it's a multi-faceted, multi-level problem. It deals with physical, mental, psychological, emotional, spiritual. You know, it deals with self-love and trying to punish other people, the benefit you get out of playing the victim in life. I'm not a psychiatrist. I mean, I have so many problems. I sometimes feel really guilty even saying anything about her, but, you know, I watched her video I listened to it on the way home, and I watched some of it when I got in, and I was just appalled. Just appalled. She looks terrible. The yellowing of her skin is not because she's sitting near a freaking orange or a glass of orange juice, or that was probably Becky, or because of the wall paint color. It's denial and it's delusion. She's sick and possibly dying, and people do care about her. I mean, I was very impressed with Obese to Beast's video about her, to her. Really, very kindly imploring her to just stop this nonsense, you know. I'm done with the dishes. I'm going to shut this off, and then I'll set up the tripod, try to get the ring light to work by plugging it into a different source, because it doesn't just plug into a wall. It needs, like, I guess it's supposed to plug into a laptop, or I don't know. When my friend Steve gets back from Texas, he'll probably come over because he's going to go with me to that concert, and he's going to finagle around with it and show me, because he knows more about, like, computers and gizmos and doodads way better than me. So I do like this shirt. I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about seeing my son on Sunday. He goes back to school on Sunday, but I said, listen, I have the day off. Please stop here first. If you can't stay for a whole meal, I at least have cinnamon buns. I always entice him with cinnamon rolls. And but I am going to make that pot roast regardless, because it's in my fridge defrosting, and that would make a nice meal and a lot of leftovers for me. All right, guys, I'm going to shut this off, and I'll be back in a bit to show you more clothes. Bye.